rankings. How clear-cut were the top four teams? Understanding there might have been some discussion among the order of the four. Those top four, pretty clear-cut separation before number 5?
Well, we did believe this week that we've got the top 4 teams identified. We felt like we had the top 4 teams there. We talked about the sequencing, the ranking this week. Believe that we've got that correct. But yes, this week there were a clear cut in the 4 top teams in the country with the selection committee's discussion. As you start looking at these championship games, you have a couple of them that are rematches, Auburn, Georgia, and then most notably TCU and Oklahoma. Why would the committee look at, say, an Oklahoma team if it were to split with TCU? What weight is put on the conference championship game as opposed to the regular season match? Well, that's a fair question, Reese, and I would say that it's important to remember at this point in the college football season what the selection committee's protocol is. And the protocol was the guidelines that the conference commissioners provided to us. And they've given us great flexibility with our charge of finding the 4 very best teams in college football for inclusion into the semifinals. That being said, many times when we are looking at comparable teams, it's hard to differentiate. And at those times, through our protocol, the commissioners have said we give you 4 metrics to look at, 4 criteria: conference championships, strength of schedule, head-to-head matchups, and results against common opponents. But they do not order those in priority. They do not tell us that they're to be weighted equally. So that being said, it's subjective based upon each of the 13 members of the selection committee. So fair question, but impossible for me to answer other than to say when we look at comparable teams, conference championships will be a factor in that equation for separation. As you're ranking these teams now, it's a little bit unusual in that you have so many of the teams that are in the top 10, as I glance at them on the screen here, who have huge losses. I mean like faceplant losses. I mean, Georgia has one. USC certainly has one, and Ohio State has one. How big a factor is that in the room when you're discussing the evaluation of the teams? A Saturday when they didn't just lose, they looked awful doing it. Well, as we get, again, to this time of the season and we study each team's resume and we're separating, we look at everything from the performance on the field that we're watching these games each and every week, to strength of schedule, to quality wins, and then the losses do come into discussion, and they are a factor as we study the resume. So they're on the table for discussion, and we do analyze those losses. So do they matter? Yes, they do matter.